Welcome to
4Kids Flashback. Hello and welcome to 4Kids Flashback, the podcast about 4Kids entertainment. I am your co-host, Tara Sands, joined, as always, by my co-host. His name is...
Steve Yurko.
Oh, that was a dramatic pause, Steve. I like that dramatic pause. Or it could just be the Zoom delay.
I think that, yeah, because I noticed, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty quick to respond to Terry. But
yeah, it's just the Zoom.
for the way we record, it's probably like when they cut to like a news broadcaster like on the scene, and there's like, "Hi, Tara. Yes."
Yeah, they're holding their earpiece.
Yeah.
Yes, that's us.
Yeah, it's truly tragic, Tara. Yes. Bodies everywhere. No.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen today on our show. There's not going to be tragedy or any bodies anywhere. It's just going to be us with Greg Abbey, who is a delight. I'm so excited for Steve to meet Greg and for you all to hear from him. Yeah, he's a good guy. Do you have a favorite role of his that you
Probably Raph from TMNT, which I don't think I have to make sure I have to remind him he was the voice of Raphael.
That he'll know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. I was thinking about I was thinking about like what to like bring up with him earlier today before we like recorded this, and like I had just recently watched through Ultimate Muscle, and I'm like, well, he's like a few characters sprinkled in there, but he was like Terry in that, and like he has quite the Southern accent in that. I don't know why, like, everyone did accents in these dubs, but I'm thinking, like, oh, it's like, he sure did a lot of different accents in all the shows he was in.
Because he's able to. I think that it came down to that. It's like, if you were able to do it, they had you do it. Although now I'm thinking back, I don't think I did many. I did accents on other projects, but I don't feel like at 4Kids I was doing a lot of accents.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is okay with me, but yeah, that's weird. We'll talk to him about that.
Yeah, I feel like it was like it was more like the silly shows. I mean, Ultimate Muscle, that show is like 95% dudes, so
yeah, it is,
and it's the same 5 guys, so
doing
of course
everything.
But he's played a lot of main characters in a lot of shows. So.
I have quite a list here in front of me. And I have I'm not giving anything away, but you'll see what I'm going to do. I like to keep Steve on his toes.
Yeah, you can't see, but I'm on my tippy toes, even while sitting down.
Steve on his tippy toes would be 7'8".
It'd be too much.
It'd be too much. He wouldn't be able to hear me if I was talking to him. More importantly, you guys, thank you for listening. Honestly, what would be even greater than you listening is you subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show wherever you're listening. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. We like you so much, but we'd love you if you did this. Oh, I had a realization, too. So, if you want to join Patreon, it's $5 a month. And there's about 4 episodes a month. So it's like $1.20 or something, like $1 and change an episode. And that means that you can listen to the episode ad-free and a week early and get bonus content for $1 a show. You didn't know I was a math wizard.
I mean, I'm not even going to challenge you on that because I am not one either.
But like $5 a month, about 4 episodes a month. Some months are bigger, some months are smaller. So you should go to patreon.com/4kidsflashback and make all of our dreams come true.
Yeah, you basically could put our podcasts on the shelf in a 99-cent store.
Basically. An episode. Yeah.
Right next to your value size generic dish detergent and value pack of really small Irish Spring soap. Sorry, I just used 2 examples were just soap.
Have I told you about finding myself in a 99-cent store?
I'm guessing this was on a DVD.
It was the he's in the waiting room. I'll tell this really fast. I hosted a TV show on Cartoon Network called Fridays many years ago, and when we made a DVD, like a compilation DVD, and we asked for some copies, and they treated them like gold. Like Cartoon Network's like, we can give you like a couple copies, but that's it. And then like a few months later, I was in the 99-cent store, and the shelf was full of them.
I didn't realize they put that stuff out on DVD.
Well, it was kind of a best of with a couple different episodes of different shows, and my big face on the cover. And I bought a stack of them and took them right up to that register, and no one noticed or said a word, thank God. But I was like, I'm getting these things.
Amazing.
That's my story.
Here's Greg.
All right, here's Greg. Hello, Greg Abbey.
Hello, Tara Sands.
Greg, I usually just do a standard intro, and I came up with so many nonsensical ideas for how I wanted to introduce you today.
Great, let's go through all of them.
I was gonna do a very Andy Kaufman-esque thing, and just read your IMDb page for an hour, and then say that's all the time we have.
That would be amazing, actually. And then I would just sing the full theme to the Yu-Gi-Oh over and over, 5 times.
Like the Mighty Mouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one knows what we're talking about, but we do.
That would be hilarious. Not.
And I'm sure you think that I'm going to make fun of your sense of direction, but I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to bring it up.
It's okay.
What I'm going to say is I'm raising my can of Diet Coke and saying that Greg Abbey is my favorite person to drink DC with in the morning.
I have a lot of self-loathing around that, but I feel like I need to stop. But I'm still addicted to it, kind of, unfortunately.
But see, here's the thing. I have a lot of respect for you as a human.
Wow.
And when I know you didn't know that, but when we reconnected doing these conventions, and I saw that you were also drinking Diet Coke, it made me feel better about myself.
Yeah, I'm to the point where I just do it. I don't hide it. It's a problem. I quit for a while, but no, I'm deep. I'm not not as deep as I was, but I definitely still drink it. Soda's terrible for you. Don't drink it. Don't drink diet soda.
Don't be like us.
Worse.
So the introduction, we are going to air all of this, but the introduction idea I landed on, because when people come up to us at conventions and mention characters we've played, and or they'll say to me, "Why didn't you talk to them on the podcast about this role?" And I explain that it was a long time ago.
Yes.
And that we don't remember.
That's true.
As your introduction, I'm going to name some roles you played, and you're going to just say yes or no if you remember them.
Okay.
And let's also point out that IMDb gets a lot of things wrong. For example, it did say that in Pokemon, you played a character named Tabitha.
I believe that's correct. I'm going to go with yes, Alex.
You definitely remember that. Okay, so I'm going to read a few out loud.
I'm Tara, not to cut you off before this. I just thought of the most obscure reference. I don't know if either of you have seen The Sopranos, but it's the last scene with Tony and Junior, and Tony's reminding his uncle, who has dementia at this point. It's like, remember you and my father used to run Newark? And she was like, that's nice.
Is this where we're at? Yes.
That's going to be us in the nursing home.
Yes.
Sorry for that obscure adult reference there.
Honestly, because some of the characters you played had such ridiculous names. Do you remember playing Forcolossus in Ultimate Muscle?
I thought I was Terry the Grand Kenyan. But I must
you
have
were
played...
that too. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Sly Scraper
on Ultimate Muscle.
Yeah.
What a shocker! You mean 4Kids threw us in on random characters while we were there?
Listen, maybe he was related to Tabitha. Do you remember playing Cobra Trooper 1 in G.I. Joe Sigma 6?
No, but I can believe that I did that. Even though I was Duke, the lead on the show, they were like,
you were Duke.
Greg, why don't you cover these other 16 parts?
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. I have you as Duke, but then I was like, Cobra Trooper 1. That's cool. A funny. Those are two funny things to have next to each other. Do you remember playing Genzo Sancho Hoshi in Dinosaur King?
I vaguely remember seeing that name at some point, probably when I I gazed at my own IMDb, who the hell was that?
That sounds right. This was one of my favorite credits. In Viva Pinata, they have you listed in over 70 episodes as additional voices.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine you were in every single episode as additional voices.
I played a bowl of fruit. I was actually proud of that voice. I was a bowl of fruit on a desk. And I think he was just this kind of fast-talking boss guy. He was a bowl of fruit, though.
He sounds like the Tick almost. Like
Perhaps,
there's something.
or I was probably ripping off Will Ferrell and Anchorman because I would always just go there if I was lost.
Do you remember playing Brandon in Winx Club?
I do remember playing Brandon. He had some action. Yeah.
Was he a lot like you in real life?
So similar, yes. So similar. Same outfits and flowing hair.
Did you? We have to talk about Winx Club because people are sad that we're not talking about Winx Club, but we'll get to that.
And I'm glad you picked Greg of all people.
Yeah, I have a swath of knowledge about this show. No, let's do it.
I know. I tried to explain to them that you guys don't remember. Wait, do you remember? Now, I don't know if these are what this is on Shaman King. Liam Dithel, or are those two different people? Is that Liam and Dithel?
I think that's the same person.
Liam Dithel.
I mean, I only figured some of these out because when we started doing these conventions, people were like, what characters did you play? And I would look through and I'd be like, wow, I have no memory of that. But I believe I remember Liam Dithel. And I played a character, Rio, I think, on Shaman King. I don't know.
You were Rio?
I believe so.
Not the Rio that you're thinking of.
A different
Tara,
Rio.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you,
because I think Sean Schemmel played Rio.
Oh, probably.
Only because we returned to Shaman King do I know this.
Pardon, nerd alert.
Yeah, sorry,
here.
Steve. Go on.
Now, Rio, the Rio that Greg is referring to is spelled RYO.
Oh, yes,
the Rio
exactly.
that Tara is thinking of is the original character is Ryu, named Rio in the dub.
Oh,
I don't get to do too many of those nerd alerts.
Thank God you're here. See, this
nerd
is why
alert.
Steve is here.
I love it.
Yes.
You guys need
so
to
no one
sound
has to tweet us now. I don't have to see that in my mentions.
Well, that's fair. I just have like 2 or 3 more for you, Greg. Sorry.
That's
Do you remember playing the One Piece? You played a villager.
I think I was a villager, and I was like a sea captain. I think in One Piece, maybe. They probably sounded exactly this. They probably talk like this. Hey, I'm a sea captain. Hey, I'm a villager.
Okay, here's my new nickname for you because on Fighting Foodons, do you know what you played on? Shrimp Daddy.
Wow. I was Shrimp Daddy? Wow.
Listen, they could have gotten it wrong, but
I've got to get a print made. Quick.
I was just going to say, or a t-shirt. I just want you to wear a Shrimp Daddy t-shirt.
Yeah. I bet people will really recognize that.
You probably don't remember these two, but you also played Tristan in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Raphael and
never heard of them. Never heard of those two. That's weird.
The Ninja Frog show.
Ninja Frog.
So we're going to talk about those for sure. Right. But thank you for playing that ridiculous game with us.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonic X. You were in that too. You played a bunch of. Were those big characters? Sam Speed.
Sam Speed was kind of big at the beginning of that series, I think, but then kind of faded out. But yeah, I remember Sam Speed.
Sounds like a dude with a drug problem.
Yeah,
that's a good name for a drug dealer, actually.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Thank you.
I don't know what for, but I will.
I guess we should get to like the real interview.
What are you talking about? This is incredible stuff we're doing here. This is it.
I'm going to make you cry before this is done. I
would
promise.
like to. I'm ready to cry.
Are you feeling vulnerable, Greg?
It's a lot rolling into these holidays. Like they're fun, but it's always insane. It's always
We should
crazy.
say we're recording this interview in December.
That's correct.
Greg was nice enough to join us right before the holidays.
Yeah.
It will probably air in 2025.
2026, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Greg.
Yes, Tara.
I'm going to pretend that I don't know anything about you.
Great.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit about your schmacting. That's acting for dorks. Your acting background, where you're from. Give like the nutshell of like when people are like, tell us what got you into acting in the first place.
All right, I'll try to do this pretty succinctly. So
you don't have. It doesn't have to be succinct.
Okay, well, I was my dad was in the service, Air Force. So I moved around every few years, always into theater. Had an uncle who was an actor. When I was 12 years old, I flew to New York City to visit him.
Ooh, like a real actor.
Yeah, he was working. He was a working actor. Yeah. So in fact, this is the little tidbit. The reason I got to go was because the day after I finished 6th grade, my mother bumped into me with a pot of boiling water accidentally. And I was in the hospital for 10 days. And so my present, I got like severe burns all over my back and left arm.
awful.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Oh my God.
So my present was that I got to go to New York City and visit my bachelor uncle who was an actor. And so I was already super into performing, and
Wait, can I
yeah,
interject? Because
sure.
there's a weird similarity here that
Okay.
is not really that similar.
Let's do it.
But when I was in college, my uncle was doing something, again, an uncle, where he needed to, like for some magazine, where he needed a female hand to photograph wearing a wedding ring or something like that. And I was home from school at the time, and my dad and I were making pasta. And as my dad poured the water into the sink, he burned my hand.
Yeah, it's similar.
But was it the day before a hand modeling job?
You know what's so crazy? It was the day before a hand modeling job. No, it wasn't.
It's so not a similar story.
No,
but still.
it is, though.
Okay.
She was turning to the sink, and she didn't know. I had slipped into the kitchen to look out the window because my friends were out, like, in the yard, and she didn't know. And she turned to the sink and bumped into me.
Oh, that's horrible. Okay. So your gift was New York.
So my gift was New York. I flew to New York. I stayed with my uncle. I fell in love with New York City. It was like Dorothy in the Land of Oz. Like, I thought it was the greatest place I'd ever been in my life. And he was also, like I said, he was like a 30-year-old bachelor. So we just did like cool shit. He took me tons of theater. We went to, and I was already into performing and stuff. So anyway, I did a lot of theater all through high school. And every summer I would come and visit my Uncle Rob every summer until I turned 18. And then I would go around with him to auditions and stuff. And then I was kind of like, well, wait a second. This is something you can do. This is a job. And so that got solidified. And so in high school, I knew I wanted to study acting. I knew young. And even at 10th grade, I knew I was going to want to study in college. My uncle studied with this guy, Bill Esper, who headed the department at Mason Gross at Rutgers. So I ended up going there and getting a BFA in acting. And the rest is history.
But you aren't in. So I just clarify. Rutgers is a school in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan.
Yes.
Were you ever living in New Jersey in all of your moving? Or?
No. I was all Midwest. So I was born in Montana, lived in Nebraska, Missouri, spent a lot of time. And so Rutgers is huge, but Mason Gross School of the Arts is the art school. So, and they have a drama department.
And it's intense.
Super intense.
It's an intense.
You had to be asked back the first 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, like people don't get invited to finish the program. It's
really
insane.
rough, actually. That was pretty brutal. So.
But some of your classmates at Rutgers, we should point out, were.
Well, Dan Green and I went to college together. I've known Dan since I was 18. We lived together all through college. And then another friend of ours, Tony Salerno, who's done a lot of voices, but also has done a ton of directing. So the three of us met at Rutgers and lived together all through school. And that was really that's how I got into this, was really through Tony, because he was an anime director.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, so he brought you. Okay, I did know that, but I forgot. Okay.
Yeah, so he was the one. This is how I remember it. I don't know how. I think Dan remembers it this way. It was Tony was an anime director, and I'd done a little bit. I mean, I was just trying to act. I was just trying to work all I could.
Yeah.
And I remember Tony calling me and saying, "Hey, there's this," and I think I did a couple terrible. One of them might even been pornographic, like Japanese anime, weird stuff, real basement level stuff.
Pre 4Kids.
Yeah.
Like
before
Central Park Media,
Central Park Media,
places like that. Those kind of companies.
Yeah, so he called me and told me, and I think he literally was like, "Hey, you guys, there's this audition for this new show, Yu-Gi-Oh," and we were both like, "Okay, cool." And so that's how we kind of fell into it.
Was voice acting on your radar at all?
Not in any way. Zero. No. I really only started just because Tony called me and said, "Hey, I'm working on these shows at Central Park Media." And like, you get it. Like, I'm an actor. I was kind of like, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
And
the rest is history.
There you go.
So during these early years in New York, were you just auditioning for everything you could?
I mean, I really wasn't. I got a really good commercial agent. We had a showcase at Rutgers, and I got a really, really good commercial agent. I didn't get a theatrical agent, so I was really doing a ton of commercials. Mm-hmm. And then I started dipping into voiceover. So, yeah, it wasn't like I was auditioning for everything. I was mostly doing commercials, and then the voiceover stuff started up, and obviously doing Yu-Gi-Oh and all that stuff helped for sure.
Does that mean that you didn't have any weird day jobs in New York?
Oh, no. I waited tables for like 10 years.
Where? Like I love
EJ's Luncheonette. Are you familiar with EJ's Luncheonette? There was one on the Upper West, Upper East.
Yes.
I was.
Were you good at it?
Pretty good. I made a lot of money. I'm fairly organized. I did pretty good. I liked it. Well, the thing is I did it in my mid-20s when it's actually fun and not depressing. Like everyone was
Right.
young and you're going out to drink and afterwards and stuff. But yeah. So
I only lasted a week and at a restaurant, and everyone smoked cigarettes, and I was like, if I
There was
keep
a lot
this
of
job, I
smoking.
will be a cigarette smoker.
So
Yeah.
wait a second. So you didn't? What was your crappy? Did you have a crappy day job? You didn't wait
Yeah,
tables.
I did office work. I
That was
did
the
like
other thing.
temp jobs, and then
Right.
yeah, I was better suited for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm very klutzy. I don't know if
I didn't
you've
know.
noticed that about me.
I haven't. I really haven't, Tara. But now I'm gonna
He's
watch you
being
carefully. I'm
sarcastic.
not being sarcastic. I haven't noticed that
You
about
are.
you. Okay, I have. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember
No,
that. But
I'm super klutzy.
Okay, good.
So I was so afraid of dropping things. Like it.
That's not a good mix. It's stressful. Waiting tables can be stressful.
Well, and they put me. It was a restaurant on the east side that Patrick Swayze owned, but
Ooh,
I never
wow.
saw him there.
Of course.
It's called like Bobby O's or something, and and because when you're starting, they put you on a lunch shift, and I literally left one day with like $7, and I was like, no.
Yeah, you're like,
no,
this sucks.
I can't.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. And then I got to quit for a while because I think I was working, and then I went back in my late 20s, and then that was pretty depressing. And then
Okay.
yeah, because at that point everyone's young, and I didn't really want to do it anymore. But yeah, it was. I didn't mind it. It was classic.
So I love hearing people's stories about sneaking out of work for like to work at 4Kids or like for auditions. Or were you working more like night shifts so you didn't?
Yeah,
have to
and
do
to be
that?
honest, like I'm a good Midwestern boy. I don't think I would have ever had the balls to slip out of work or really lie. I worked at night, and I would have never done that. I would have been too frightened to, actually, in my 20s.
Yeah, like Megan Hollingshead would take like 3-hour lunches and go work at 4Kids.
I would
and then come
never,
back.
I would have never in a million years, I would have had an anxiety attack if I did that. So no, I never,
I think I would have too.
I don't think I ever did that. I towed the line probably too much in my 20s, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So do you remember your entree to 4Kids? Like what the first because I don't think you were in the early years of Pokemon, right?
No.
Am I remembering correctly?
Was Pokemon first? Is that
Pokemon was first.
No. So
you
I think
assume Yu-Gi-Oh was first because it was probably your first.
It really was. So what was that? Like
Yeah.
2000. And it really was the first thing that I auditioned for was Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, that was in 2000. Was it in 2000?
And should we blow people's minds with your Yu-Gi-Oh
I don't know.
story?
I don't know if this will blow people's minds, but so I went into audition, and I did originally get cast as Yugi. And I think I did like a promo, but I was also basically going through a midlife crisis at 28, and I think
as you do,
having somewhat of a nervous breakdown, and I ended up leaving New York and going to California. And I remember telling, it must have been Lloyd Goldfine, that I said,
yeah,
I can't do this, I'm moving. But I was really just losing my shit. So I think I left, and then Dan ended up getting the part. And to be totally honest, I mean, it was maybe for a few weeks. Like I didn't do a show. I think I literally did a promo.
And that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Dan's incredible at the part. So it's not like I don't look back on that with any regret. Well, except for the Funko Pop, I guess. I don't really look back on that with any regret. But yeah, so that's what happened. So I didn't, but then I just was lucky because I think I did move to LA for like 6 months, came back, and then I don't know why, because I listened to your episode with Sam, who played the original Tristan, and it was interesting to listen to him because it sounded like and maybe he
Sam
did.
Riegel,
Yeah, Sam Riegel recorded the first season, but I feel like I came in like 7 or 8 episodes in, but then he said something like, maybe I redubbed him. For whatever it's worth, Tristan was really my first part. So I came back. Dan was cast as Yugi, and then I got cast as Tristan.
Because Sam definitely did season 1 as Tristan.
He did the whole thing,
and
right?
then you did everything else, and then he moved. I think that is. Wait, Steve, help us out.
If memory serves, like, yeah, I think Sam said, and like three of us listen to this podcast, and let's see how our memories match up. But I think he said, like, yeah, I recorded a bunch of episodes, but at that point, it's like he left, so he was recast, and I think probably like like just like a handful of episodes aired at that point. So I think then
maybe that's what it was, because I think I
Yeah.
came in pretty
Yeah, that makes
early. I
sense.
think I came in like 10,
you
11.
did. Yeah.
Right? 10, 11 episodes in. But
Yes,
whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't even know Sam at that time. I just came in, and I think they recast it. So
And it's unclear if it's because he moved or because they just wanted a different voice. And the truth is, they might have been so happy that you were back that they were like, "Oh, let's find something for."
let's go with that,
again,
Sarah. I think they were so happy that I had.
But
if Greg Abbey has returned,
They mushed Sam out of the way.
prodigal son.
I could assume, Greg, that probably like they didn't have you try to voice match or anything, or even like play
No, I mean,
audio. They probably
no.
no.
In fact,
yeah.
I don't even remember being aware that Sam had. Oh no, it was totally different voice. So yeah, that was really my first. I mean, that was what was a little confusing when I listened to Sam, because we didn't start Turtles until 3 years later, because that started 2003. So I don't know. I don't remember. It all blends.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've heard different versions since recording that of why Sam didn't continue. And honestly, who cares? And memory isn't perfect.
Yeah.
But I am glad that you set the record straight about the Yugi thing, because it is something that I know has come up. You've been asked about it. I've been asked about it.
Yeah.
And fans would love it to be something more dramatic. Like, they ask me, like, why did you leave in season 5? And I was like, because I moved.
You moved, right.
And yeah, and they're like, oh, like they wanted a juicier story. So like the truth is, you got cast, you left town, someone else did the role. Like it's really not that salacious or interesting.
Oh yeah,
we
no, not at all.
More fun.
Well, it was so wild. You sent me that promo that I did, because I had no memory of that.
I'll just say there's a Toys R Us promo that is on our Patreon page that you can check out with Greg's voice on it, and he is happy to sign your Funko Pops.
Yes, exactly. Don't tell Dan that. No, but Dan is one of my oldest, closest, best friends, and he's so amazing. So I can't imagine anyone else doing it. And I think if I had done that, I mean, getting to do Tristan, I would have never gotten to do Yusei Fudo, and I probably might not have even gotten Raphael, because as much as they kind of, I mean, I don't have to tell you, in the early years they kind of used us a lot, but if you had a lead on a show, you didn't necessarily get a lead again right away. Or maybe you did. I don't know.
I mean, when we talked to Lloyd, we were talking about the casting process, and he kind of said that he sort of knew the 4 he wanted pretty
really?
early. Yeah, which I found really surprising. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll have to listen to that.
I mean, maybe one of you, maybe he flipped who was who or something, but he kind of,
right.
And I don't know that, like, Michael maybe hadn't done much over there, so maybe Michael was a new addition.
For Turtles, Lloyd said that.
For Turtles. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. For Turtles,
cool,
Lloyd said that. So I think
nice.
in the back of his head, because he knew you guys from Yu-Gi-Oh!, he was like, oh, yeah, I hear it. I hear them in this other project. Which is so neat. Like, putting all these puzzle pieces together, again, like you and I as actors didn't know what was going on there. Like, we just...
Well, it was also, I mean, I've heard you talk about this a little bit, and this isn't news, but those shows could be confusing because you were not recording with other actors except for Turtles. Like everything else, you're going in and doing your part. So even when people would ask me about episodes at conventions, it's just very hard to have context because you weren't working off other actors. You weren't getting the whole story. So it's very difficult sometimes to remember all that stuff.
Well, and I would imagine, so you we're going back a little bit, but like you were doing these dubs with our buddy Tony Salerno, and no one saw so much of that stuff. Like, that you, in your mind, probably thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Was another one of these shows that no one was going to, like, is that what it was? Like, did you think it was just another anime that was going to sit in a VHS tape on a shelf somewhere?
I mean, I didn't think of it at all. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, that's why, now that I started to do conventions like the last year, like I have moments with Wayne, with Dan, with Ted, with all that were like, this is insane. Mm-hmm. This is crazy that this show. So I didn't really even have much of an idea while I was doing the show. You know what I mean? Like I like doing the show. I loved the people I was working with. I had no inkling. I didn't know anything. I just went in because like I said, and you probably feel the same way. I was an actor. And when Tony called me and said, hey, here's an audition for this show, I was like, hell yeah. I'm going to go down. That's awesome.
It's amazing that we all still are talking about it, that we all still like each other, that like I
Yeah.
am so lucky. I look forward to the conventions with you guys so much more. Like
It's the best.
It's the best.
It's so amazing. It's been the best part of it. I mean, it was the best part at the time, but it's the best part now. Is like some of my closest friends are from that time, and the fact that we get to go and meet fans, but travel together, and like, yeah, you and I feel like I guess maybe you and I had seen each other, but I don't feel like until we did a convention together, right?
No, and I feel,
Like
I mean,
last
listen,
year?
I think online gives you, like Facebook and all this stuff kind of gives
Yeah,
you
yeah.
a false sense of staying in touch. But like,
Right.
I would just, whoever I saw, I would say, how's Greg? Like, I never felt like we lost touch necessarily.
Right,
but
right,
like,
right.
but,
Yeah.
But we all sat down
different.
and it was like no time lost between
Yeah,
everybody. I mean,
yeah.
but I
It's
have
amazing.
a similar, like Lisa and I went to college together. Like so many of us go back so far.
Right.
Lisa Ortiz. Sorry, I forget.
Yeah,
Sometimes we start talking on this podcast,
Yeah, and it's like, you know, Lisa.
Yeah, I forget. All right, back to the 4Kids, Greg. God, stop
All right, let's
getting
bring
me
it back.
off
On
topic
Sorry.
with friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh, gross.
Disgusting.
Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh's your first show there. You're playing Tristan.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, like these off. So you never recorded at Taj Productions, and you went straight to the 4Kids Studios. Then I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't think I ever. I mean, I don't remember. Was Ultraman Tiga at Taj?
Oh wait, but Ultraman might have been. Oh, help me out here. Was Ultraman before Yu-Gi-Oh?
That might have been before, but I don't think I had. If I worked on that show, I didn't have a big part.
It was after. Okay, Steve, thank God.
It was after?
Okay.
Yeah, that's first year Foxbox, so that is like part of like the big slew of shows that they rolled out.
So
when
sometimes
they acquired the TV box.
Ultraman, I believe, and again, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I think maybe we did some of that at Taj. It's possible. We'll ask Chris Collet when he's on.
Yeah, I think, but the 4Kids stuff was, I think, the first stuff I did. I mean, I ended up at Taj for some stuff, but 4Kids or Yu-Gi-Oh was definitely my first thing for sure.
And did you know anything about anime before you started doing these shows?
No, zero.
And were you like, what is this? Why is there an exclamation mark at the end of that title?
It's so long ago. I don't really remember thinking too much about it, except that I was happy to have the job and the people were cool. And that was it. That was like the extent of my experience. I wasn't into anime. I'm not a big cartoon or comic book person. So, and again, like it was also kind of difficult because you don't have context for the rest of the show. So it was kind of, I don't know. I was just kind of showing up. I saw it as more like a job that was great to have, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that too. Like I had trouble caring because I would get excited and then I'd get there and they'd be like, okay, skip to page 17, and I was like, well, I don't know what's happening. And then it was all very fast. So
it was very fast. It was very fast. We're moving on. I just did one take. Did I even get the words right? No, we got it.
Have you gone back and watched it? Because I am appalled by some of my performances. I didn't, and I'm saying I watched like 2 minutes, and I'm like, I can't watch.
You watched the whole season.
I really haven't. I can't.
I did watch the first episode of 5Ds recently, and that was cool. But yeah, I haven't for a while, and I haven't seen much of it for a long time. I'll dip into Turtles now and again because that's on Paramount Plus, which I have. So I'll watch a few minutes of it.
Well, I would guess that's fun to watch. Like that, I would watch an episode of that with me. Like I only did like a couple episodes, but I think that I could handle. But
should we talk about Turtles a little bit?
It's
I don't want to
jumping
take over.
Chronologically.
Is it? Because I really did Tristan and then Raph was next.
Really?
Wasn't it? Yeah, then Yusei was after that.
Sonic wasn't in between that or
Oh yeah, but I don't really.
Do you want to hit the nerd button here?
Yeah, nerd button, but also Shrimp Daddy happened during that time.
Ultraman Tiga, Shrimp Daddy from Food Ons. That's airing in late 2002.
Yeah, see, Greg?
Turtles. Turtles. I don't know how long, how far ahead you were recording the show, but Turtles airs in February 2003.
Right.
And here we are.
I mean, I think
all
'cause
right,
I
fine.
had
Let's
so
go to Turtles. Yeah,
it's
Just
fine. I
kidding.
mean, I
I'm
had
kidding.
such small parts on those other shows. Like, I don't really remember them. It was more like I was walking down the hallway and they were like, Greg, can you come in here and read Shrimp Daddy?
Right. Well, see, but that's sort of what I wanted to talk about is like
Oh,
when
okay.
we first got started at 4Kids, even Yu-Gi-Oh! Early times, there weren't like 10 shows going on. Like it was maybe two
Right,
or three
right.
shows. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, do you remember like the offices expanding and getting bigger? And
Yeah.
I mean, it was bananas.
It was bananas. I mean, I think I always kind of remember it as like, and I was there for the duration. I think I was there near the
Hmm.
beginning and kind of because I stayed in New York and didn't move, I was there till the end when it started to fall apart a little bit. And you tell me, wasn't it like a 5 to 6 year run, maybe
Of like
7 years?
the
When it was
heyday.
like,
Yeah.
and the heyday, I felt like was a couple of years. Like we did reach a point, like it kept growing. Like at the height, it felt like there were 7 or 8 shows, maybe
Yeah.
even more that were recording, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it
So yeah,
was booming. And like, again, you're right. We'd get pulled into another studio to do something or just because you were there.
yeah. I mean, I always tell people like, I do think they did get a little lazy about the casting, but I will say the people that were there were not only awesome people, but there's a lot of talent that went through there. Like I
Hmm.
think a lot of people had chops. But I did understand, like I got the joke, like wow, they're kind of reusing people, and it was a little silly. Like it was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
small. It was like 20 to 30 actors they were using that they did eventually expand, but there were ever people were great. I mean, there was a ton of talented people that were working there, you know?
Yeah, and when people say to me, "Oh, that sounds like when you did this thing," I go, "Well, yeah, there's a limit. You know, if you have me doing 20 voices, some of them are going to sound alike."
Well, not only that, like I'm not Mark Thompson, I'm not Wayne. I don't have like a giant range, and so especially for me, it's not like I can do it a little bit, but
But
I'm
you
I'm
do
playing a variation
accents.
of myself. Not really. No, no, I'm
But see,
terrible at
that's not true.
accents.
During our intro, Steve talked about your accent work. Tell him,
Wow, really?
Steve. Sorry,
Well,
I mean to out you, Steve.
I we're
I mean,
you
if you
know,
count Brooklyn,
yeah, it does. It
is
counts.
it
I mean,
it's
like
an accent. It's an accent.
it is. Ultimate Muscle got brought up
Oh
earlier.
my
You know,
gosh, yeah.
Terry got brought up
Southern.
earlier.
I know a
Mm-hmm.
couple of the
Yeah.
basic
See,
ones.
you
I
did
know a couple of
stuff.
the basic ones, but like Wayne can do like 10 accents. I've got a couple I can do.
Well, like
But
Wayne
yeah, I've
can
got a
talk.
couple.
Wayne can be 7 people talking to himself in a
It's
scene.
true. It's
Yeah,
true. Him and Mark Thompson for
yeah.
sure.
I don't. I don't think. I don't think I did any accents while I was there, which is weird.
Really?
But I'm okay with it.
I th- I
Yeah.
think of you having range, Tara.
Oh, well, thank you. I
I do,
didn't
and I'm
say I
not just
couldn't
saying
do
that.
accents. I just don't think that they
Yeah,
ever
it didn't
asked
come
me.
up.
Listen, I can
Right.
do. I can do an accent. Just
Oh my
kidding.
God, wait a second. Are we in Scotland or London? Where are we now?
I've been transported.
There's some general UK place we're in.
Top of the morning to ya.
Top of the morning to
Oh
ya.
my God. I think Greg and I share a similar annoyance for actors who throw their accents and character voices at you. Like Greg and I, this was me being annoying just now, like on purpose. But Greg, like our New York-based friends don't break into like silly voices when we hang out,
Right,
and there are
right.
definitely actors who do. And
Yeah, because
we-
who wants to bring work home, right? Tara?
Right. Well,
Great.
that's it. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah, wait a
yeah.
second.
As
There
I
we
can
are.
see my
As
bed
you
from
sit
my
in your
studio.
home booth, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a
That's
funny
that's
collective.
really exhausting. Yeah.
On the topic of the accents, though, I know we're jumping a little ahead. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
5Ds comes way later. I remember reading something that you say originally you were doing a voice more similar to something like Raphael before it was a lot more understated. Like I read something that you were doing more of like the Brooklyn accent or something. Is that true?
For Yusei?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, it was he was just basically Tristan with more gravitas and lower in my
Mhm.
register, but I definitely didn't ever do an accent with him. No, and certainly coming off because I think that was pretty much the next character after Raph. That would have
Mhm.
been funny though.
The internet
Yeah.
got
I
something
draw.
wrong.
Yeah,
I-
that's crazy.
I can't say for sure where I read that, but I remember reading that. I'm like, good time to bring it up, and
Yeah.
I love killing a rumor.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's knock that one down.
All right, now we can talk about turtles. Fine. So I found in my calendar, and I don't have it right here, but I have found in my date book the day that I auditioned for Turtles.
Oh, wow.
And I remember like the buzz at 4Kids was, oh my God, they're doing original animation.
Right.
Is that sort of what you remember? Like, that's the stuff we wanted to do.
Yeah, it was really exciting. It felt like, because I don't want to denigrate what 4Kids was trying to do, but there was a little bit like, hey, we can do some higher level stuff. And Turtles certainly felt that way just from the beginning, that it was prelay, and you were like, oh, wait a second, the actors are going to be able to be in the booth together, you know?
Well, and to clarify, I think, and again, we think of it as higher level in a certain way because when we do anime, we're not originating the character. Someone else has their stamp on that character. So for us, as actors who want to originate something and who want to actually work with other actors, something like Ninja Turtles, which Greg referred to as prelay, which means that they do the voices first and then animate, was so exciting. So do you actually do you remember if you read for more than one role or how that process happened?
I must have read for a couple of Turtles. I must have read for a couple, but I definitely remember Raph, and I just remember, you know, I think they had the drawings and they had the description, and it was like, he's angry, he's from Brooklyn. I've told this anecdote, but I really think it's true that I think I had gotten in an argument with my girlfriend, who's now my wife a very long time, that day. And I was like in a really not a great place, an angry place when I walked in, and I just sold that shit, man. I was like, all right, I'm going to let it out here.
You better thank her again for that.
So yeah, I definitely remember Raph. They must have let us read for all the Turtles, but, and again, like, I didn't really have a history with the Turtles either. I don't remember the 80s show, but I do. I mean, it's so hard because it's so long ago, but I think I was probably most excited by this idea that it's not just going to be me in the booth, you know?
Yeah.
What did you do on it?
I had some small characters, like I played some.
Did you come in with us ever?
Yes, I did. And that was what was so exciting. Like once you guys started recording, like the buzz around, like among the actors was, oh my God, it's so much fun to work with. Like, you guys were at your prime doing this and you were having so much fun. And we'd have pizza Wednesdays. And like, if you happened to be working on Wednesdays, you got to hang out with the Turtles and eat with pizza with them.
Right.
And, you know, we were friends, but like, that was a different level of like, oh, we can work together.
Yeah, it was super nice. And I mean, Sam talked about it a little bit, I think, but I mean, I met Wayne on that show, and he's one of my closest friends in the world. He came to my wedding. But even like Mike and Sam, like, we all really hit it off. Like, we liked each other. We really liked working together. And then we also, I think, we felt excited. Like, we felt some honor and like pride around, wow, this is really cool. We get to do this. Because we knew, like, at 4Kids, it was a kind of a cool thing because you got to actually work together. And there felt like there was a little bit more of a level of integrity to it. Like, we did a rehearsal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the other stuff, you were walking in the booth and most of the time reading that script for the very first time. If it was Yu-Gi-Oh or any of the other shows. And so, you know, Sam talked about this too, but going on Wednesday, rehearsing it like a radio play in the morning, and then having lunch, going into the booth. And we just enjoyed each other so much. And I think also the team around it felt really high level. Sue Blue directing, John Dixon, the engineer, like Chuck Patton came on, Lloyd, like there were some heavy hitters and everyone was really invested in really trying to make something great. And you kind of felt that, you know what I mean? So not that we wouldn't have taken it seriously, but.
So Steve is a professional storyboard artist.
Oh, cool.
And my favorite part of Turtles was seeing the storyboards. There was something that felt so legit.
Yes, totally. That. You know, it's funny you say that because I kind of forget that piece, but we would get to, I guess we were prelay, but we got to see a lot of that stuff. Yeah, even the artists they had working on that show were super high level, talented guys. I mean, I say this all the time. It's the best job I've ever had. I haven't done a lot, but I've done quite a few different things over the years. By far the best job, by far the most fun. We enjoyed each other so much, you know, and they started to work that into the show a little bit because we developed a rapport. It was almost like improv comedy. Not that we made a ton of stuff up, but we just became so comfortable with each
Yeah.
other. It was amazing. I look back so fondly on that, experience.
And I'll brag a little.
I'm not gonna cry, Tara.
Oh, damn
But
it.
no, wait a second. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Brag.
You interrupted me. I was
You
going to
say
brag
something
on
nice
Greg's
about me?
behalf. Like because this is a 4Kids podcast, we won't talk about all this other stuff. But Greg used to pop up on my television, and still does, all the time, and not just commercials, but in TV shows that shoot in New York. I mean, constantly. I know I texted you recently, and I was like, Greg, what was I can't remember what I was watching, but it was a show from years ago that I went back and revisited.
Oh, yeah. The Americans, maybe.
Yes, it was the Americans, and I get so excited whenever Greg, but it happens a lot, and Greg is speaking from experience of being on set with other actors. So especially when someone like you says that show was so meaningful, and so it's a big deal. Like I don't want to underplay that.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and I also think it wasn't like everyone who was there was a voice actor. Like everyone was trying to do other stuff and do theater and commercials and television. And that, if you're an actor, you want to work off another actor. That's what it's all about. And so to have that opportunity with those guys, and then us becoming, because it would have been hard if it was like, oh, Sam Riegel's kind of an asshole. He wasn't. Everyone was great.
There wasn't a weak link. Like, I don't remember.
Yes, I agree. I think we had a good balance, and everyone had their strength. I think it was cast really well. I think not only the acting, but the voices really fit. So, I mean, it was thrilling. I mean, I loved doing that show.
Do you remember who? I was trying to remember this today. Who started directing after? Because Sue Blue didn't do the whole series. Who was directing after her?
Roy Burdine, I think.
Roy? Oh, it was
do you
another.
Remember Roy?
No, I don't.
Really?
I thought it was another. I thought maybe Eric or Darren or somebody else took over. But it wasn't. Okay.
No, they didn't pull. He was from the outside as well.
Okay.
And I don't that's all cloudy. I don't remember why Sue stopped doing it. Maybe because she was in LA. Because Roy was actually in house.
Okay.
Meaning like he'd come to the studio. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chuck Patton might have directed some of it too. It's hard. I can't totally remember.
Okay, I'll do some Googling.
Yeah.
I should have done. I did my research on Shrimp Daddy, but I didn't get into this.
Shrimp Daddy. Somehow. He probably sounded like my villager and sea captain.
I'm staring at I'm looking at this list I made here. So in Pokemon, because I was going to ask you when you finally did, but I'm just going to read this very fast. In Pokemon, what IMDb says is Bianca's father, Corey's dad, Leona's father, Scott, Tabitha, Operator 1, Male Aqua Grunt 2, Male Magma Grunt 4, Victor Winstraight, Male Aqua Grunt. Again, maybe that was in multiple episodes. Scientist 1, Kai, Phony Pokemon Interpreter.
Wow, that's all from Pokemon?
Yes. And so, this is my question. This is why I read this. Pokemon was the big flagship, basically, show there. When did you finally work on Pokemon? And was that, something you actually did want to do because of the name recognition?
No. I was totally...
You didn't care.
It's not that I didn't care. I kick myself now because I think in a way I was kind of condescending. I didn't get it. I'm like, what is this? This is so weird. They're saying their names over. I don't understand. I didn't get it. I think I mostly played humans on the show. And so, I mean, I wasn't I didn't turn down anything on that show, but I don't even remember. Was Eric, who directed it? Wasn't there 1,000 directors on it?
There were a bunch. Darren was ultimately directing. Michael Hagney directed early seasons, right. Before you were there. But it did flip around a lot.
I mean, that was one that I just never made it on as a main character. I guess I would get pulled in to do some extra stuff.
Not too late. Better watch what you say.
Oh, believe me. When Lisa Ortiz sent out that audition, I was right there. I was I'll say this character name over and over. Let's do this.
Yeah. You've played plenty of dads and crooks by the sound of that IMDb list.
Yeah,
we got to get you as a creature saying their name again and again.
Steve, make it happen, will you?
And at least 7 Funko Pops, at least.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I want a character that has
we talk
Pop.
About everything when we're together. But we'll talk about things in terms of Funko Pop.
Yeah, like breakfast. a new pair of jeans.
How many Funko Pops will we have to sign to?
So,
it's obnoxious. I shouldn't brag about that. It's obnoxious, but it's only because,
it is. Go ahead.
It is what it is, but it's also that we're shocked that anyone cares about us. And I think for the most part, most of us, I can't speak for everybody, have stayed pretty humble and has a sense of humor about it because
it's insane.
We feel lucky.
It's crazy.
Like
It really is crazy. Like I'm at these conventions this last year, and because I really just started doing them last summer, and it's wild and it's so cool. I mean, I think and the fans are always really sweet and appreciative, and the fact that we get to spend time with each other, and now it's 25 years, right? This next year is the 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! So.
Yeah, well, Pokemon hit 25. I mean, we're old.
Crazy.
Okay, I can't keep you here forever, so I want to just...
Okay.
So after Turtles continues to go on, and you are working on some other stuff there.
Right.
Is there anything like G.I. Joe, you're a big deal in that? Do you have anything you want to share?
I mean, it's just a bummer because I think they kind of blew that opportunity, to be honest. Like, that's one of the shows I look back on and I'm like, it's G.I. Joe. I think it lasted a season. Like, dude, this is one of the biggest entities, classic, historic. And it might have been at the time when they had too much going on. So I don't know if it was the writing or the promotion, but we only did one season. And that just seems silly. It was G.I. Joe. Like you should have been able to make G.I. Joe work.
I think one of the things I've read about that show is because that whole production was made to promote like a very specific toy line, a new toy line.
That makes sense.
In the franchise, and I think those toys didn't
take off.
all, so
right.
So it was all about toys.
That makes sense,
all
but that's that was the connection, So that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So I mean that was kind of a blip because we only did that one season.
Yeah, and you weren't the initial Duke, but you took on the role.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. I was gonna add, that was one of my questions because someone named Andrew Paul, but they had you redub everything. I didn't know. Someone asked why, and I was like, I'm sure you're not gonna have the answer, but
no, I have.
I have to at least ask you.
I don't even remember that happened.
They really did pull you from the hallway, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Megan Hollings had told a story on the show how she was cast in a role. They decided they didn't love her in it, cast someone else in it who then decided to go on tour. So they brought Megan back, and when Megan said what happened, they told her that flat out. Like they didn't even sugarcoat it.
They didn't coax it. Well, we didn't like you, so we replaced you. And then when that person left, we were like, oh shit, okay, bring Megan back.
Yeah, that is exactly what they said. Basically,
that kind of sounds on brand for 4Kids.
It does. Like, so when people say like, "Are you so?" I guess what the thing is like, and again, this podcast is not like a screw you to 4Kids, but
right? No, it's not.
Treated exceptionally well there. So
yeah.
I think we all still have like a little bit of bitterness that we're not wealthy from these hit shows or like there's, it sucks to feel like that. So I think if we maintain a sense of humor about it and kind of.
Well, I think it was a total mixed bag because there were some business parts of it that definitely weren't great, but I know you feel the same way. And that's what I always talk about. It's like those 5 years or whatever, like I have 5 of the best years of my life just because everyone was so talented and so cool. We were in our late 20s, early 30s, so we were going out. Like it was so fun. So even though some of the business stuff wasn't great, like to have the opportunity to work there and work with all the people were, especially Tara.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Especially Tara.
Yes.
Okay, so Viva Pinata was that was original animation.
Yes.
So was that recording? I know you weren't
I had a
lead in
pretty,
that necessarily.
Right. I had a pretty small part on that, but I do remember, I think Eric Stewart directed it, but I did play an incredible bowl of fruit. That can't talk like this. Hey, I'm a bowl of fruit.
So you got, but again, at least you got to be with other actors, which is so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then Winx Club, which is like suddenly, we should say then at a certain point, 4Kids loses their Pokemon license, and things probably felt a little weird. Do you remember like that going down, or?
I don't really remember the specific Pokemon thing. I do just remember like it started to get a little wonky. Like there were left shows. It felt a little chaotic. There was like, because we weren't really in touch with I wasn't in touch with the corporate piece of it, but you
No,
could
me
kind of
either.
feel a difference in the. But no, and maybe because I wasn't really on Pokemon, I wasn't. So
Mm-hmm.
if I had had a lead part, maybe that would have. I don't even remember really
It
that
would have felt
registering.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Why do you have like a vivid memory of when it shifted?
I moved. So I
Oh,
moved in
oh,
2005. So I had already kind of given up my roles. I gave up in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh specifically. And I think they actually replaced me in Turtles. I think one of my characters maybe came back for an
mm,
episode, and which was fine. Like, I made that decision consciously. I
right,
knew by leaving that was it.
right.
Um, but they also it's a kind of a shame too, because they kind of made a shift into more female centric shows. So I feel like, there have been all these dude shows with Ultimate Muscle and
Right.
F-Zero, which we haven't even really spoken
Oh
about.
my gosh, yeah, I forgot about
Do
that
you have
one.
any good memories or bad memories of F-Zero? No?
I have neither. I don't really remember that one too much.
Rick Wheeler?
Oh, Rick Wheeler. Yeah, yeah.
Committee member 3 and Punk 1.
Oh,
I
for
mean, I
fuck's sake.
became like, I like that. Punk One. I'm gonna put that on an 8x10.
That was another show. I don't fully know the circumstance behind that, but that was a show that I think kind of just
Died
was
on the
like
vine, right?
yeah, I think it just wasn't doing well.
Yeah,
I don't even you probably don't even remember how much of it you recorded, but
I don't.
definitely not all of it aired. So.
Yeah. No, I don't. That was another one again. It was kind of like G.I. Joe, where we did like maybe a season. That's why I don't totally Rick Wheeler. I vaguely remember that.
I have some fan questions that we're going to end with.
Sweet.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you can't use me as the answer to this question. But at Red Flames asked this of both you and Wayne. Was there a voice actor you really respected at 4Kids that made you want to be better?
I mean, I've always been kind of awed by Mark Thompson, and I just think because his range is insane. His acting is great too, but his range is insane. Like, and I'm not that guy. Like, I did a lot of leading man. That's why I'm Yusei, Rick Wheeler, Tristan. It's kind of a variation on that, and I can do a little bit of character work, but people like him and
He's
Wayne.
another level. He is.
Mark's insane. I mean, there's a reason he does the Star Wars books and is so popular in that realm, because he has this God-given ability to do this. It's insane.
Wayne's answer was also Mark.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like when you'd go in, that became the joke. Like, we'd audition and be like, yeah, you audition. Yeah, Mark's probably going to get it. Did Thompson get it? Yeah. Well, he's an amazing guy, so that actually helps too. But I mean, Dan's one of my closest friends, but I went to acting school with him. Dan's an incredible actor.
But you knew that already. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool that everyone got to see that. Like, I can remember, I mean, I was in class with him for 4 years, but also seeing him on stage at Rutgers. Like, he's an amazing actor, so I knew he would be great. And he was amazing at 4Kids.
I don't expect you to totally remember this, but at PikaMaster542 wants to know the strangest voice direction you were ever given in the booth.
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't have a good answer.
I thought that.
Okay, pass.
Pass. Hard pass.
Hard pass. They also want to know, what was it like working on different versions of Yu-Gi-Oh? Was there any difference, like working in the early years as opposed to coming back for the different seasons?
Not really. I don't think so, because it was a similar vibe, even though it was different characters. It's obviously living in the same universe. So no, I didn't feel like there was a huge switch. Obviously, certainly between the OG and 5Ds for sure.
I got the dumbest question here.
Go for it.
If my memory serves me right, I feel like Raphael was the one turtle out of the 4 that I think used phrases like "what the shell" the most, replacing "shell" with the word "hell."
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I'm curious if that ever made it into your repertoire back in the day, almost to the point where it's like you stopped cursing and just use that instead.
Oh, in my real life?
Yeah.
What the
That's
shell,
an interesting
honey?
question.
You were
maybe yelling at my
You had
kids.
a lot of anger.
I did.
What the shell?
What the shell?
Well, I'm trying to bring.
Honey.
Wayne played a character named Spaghetti About It in Fighting Foodons, Yeah,
God.
I'm trying to work that into conversation, and people like it. I will say. So maybe what the shell.
I think you could make it work, actually, Tara. I could see you making it work. I really am. When we end this classic conversation, I'm looking up Shrimp Daddy because I have zero memory, but I'm so curious now. I'm telling you, though, he's going to sound just like my villager, Thug 1, Goon 2, Sea Captain. He probably talks like this.
I heard he's getting a Funko Pop.
Oh, my God. I will be appearing in Sarasota, Florida.
Where can people find you online, Greg, if they want to stalk you and see what you have to say?
Yeah, I guess on Instagram I'm at the real Greg Abbey for anime stuff, and if you want to
One
see
G, not Greg with 2 G's.
ABBEY, and if you want to see pictures of my kids and Michigan and Cape Cod, you can go to at Gregory Abbey. That's the real me, but the other one's
I was
for
going to
anime.
ask
I
why
keep 'em
you
separate.
have 2. No, okay, so because when I tag you and stuff, I'm like, oh man, I don't know which one to tag. So they're both up for. I can just tag.
I kind of just wanted to keep all the anime stuff separate from my like real life, so that's why I did that.
Real Greg Abbey is really your work life.
Correct.
And Gregory Abbey is your personal life, which I almost feel like should be reversed because the real Greg Abbey is kind of you and your.
That's true. That's true. I think someone made that other handle for me. That's why, but that's okay. So yeah, I mean, it probably makes no sense. I'm not good at social media. I should probably be combined. So I have more followers, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, I know. We kind of missed. I always think about like if
I'm old.
Well, no, but if like Twitter had been around when during our heyday of.
Oh my God, I'm
social,
so glad it wasn't.
But see, yes and no, because I mean, think about the sign. I mean, again,
the power we would have had.
Well, yes, the power we would wield, but like the truth is we make a lot of our income doing these conventions and signings and because of followers on social media. So if that had been, I mean, it might have been a different world, or like they, the way they. Like if someone gets replaced on a show that the internet is up in arms. Like imagine that. Yeah,
I guess we did mess it. Now I'm depressed. Thanks, Tara.
And on that note, no. Greg, thank you again for doing this and taking time to
You
talk
guys are
to
awesome.
us.
It's fun to go down memory lane. I have like I said, I have like such fun memories. It's like some of the best times of my life was that period that we were all working together and going out. And then you and I sitting in a giant chair. I saw that picture recently.
Oh, yeah.
From the fair.
Oh, my God. We'll try to find that and post it. But I remember one day Lisa Ortiz and I believe, were at the street fair. And then we ran
Darren
into...
Dunstan.
But were you... See, I can't remember who was with who when we ran into each other.
It all melded together back then,
It
Tara.
did, but there was a giant... So... Pre-Instagram, there weren't usually things for photo ops. Like, I can't even believe we even had a camera with us. But there was a huge, oversized chair on the street that people were taking pictures in, and then we all jumped into it.
Now I'm going to send it to you because
I think I have it.
If people hear this, they're just going to be dying to see that photo, Tara. I will be selling it at the next convention for $85.
On that note, do you remember the parties at 4Kids?
Oh my God, are you kidding? They were incredible.
Did you still have a hangover from them?
And weird and like crazy. But yeah, of course. Yeah. It was amazing. That was the best part.
We had fun.
It was great. This was fun too.
Okay. Get the hell out of here. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to let Greg leave. I'm going to stop recording, but thank you. Oh, one of my favorites. I say that a lot, don't I? But I mean it every time.
So this is me.
You sound angry.
No, yeah, I'm about to go audition for Raphael. No, this is me pitching a potential terrible episode title. So 4Kids, the studio at least that you recorded at, 23rd Street, Manhattan, downtown.
Ish, yeah, sure.
Yeah, ish. You got your friend Greg there. Walking the hallways, getting pulled into rooms to be a main character on a show on a whim. Full name, Greg Abbey. Is he downtown?
Abbey?
Downtown
Abbey.
Greg
Downton.
Abbey.
Downtown, because we could actually spell it the way that everyone thinks Yeah, downtownish Abbey. You know, I don't
That's my
hate
long
it.
pitch for the episode title. So that way we don't have to beat ourselves up about it.
So we do beat ourselves up about ththese episode titles. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we try to name these episodes some like cheesy 4Kids-ish name.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what Steve is brainstorming about.
That's my pitch.
There is a doubt because here's the thing. Most people who don't watch it don't even realize that Downtown Abbey is not the name of it. They actually think it is. They don't realize it's Downton.
Yeah, it's I don't think that's a Mandela effect, but that's like Costco.
Right.
I think it's Costco.
Yeah. Well, like today, I got annoyed because I saw someone write that this person was casted on the show. And I'm like,
I was guilty of using that. Yeah.
It's such a pet
someone's
peeve.
been cast. The
past tense of cast is cast.
Yes, there's no past. Casted is not the past tense.
But here's the thing: if you said it, it wouldn't bother me. It's when I've seen people who are casting people use it wrong, and I thought, everyone's too scared of you to correct you because they want you to casted them.
Casted sounds like you went to the ER and you broke a bone,
or you went fishing and you like. But even that, the past tense of that would be cast a line.
You cast a line.
All right, everybody. That was a delight. I kind of like the game of reading their credits and having them say yes or no to remembering them. I might use that gem again, so don't judge me.
I knew from the beginning it was a bit, but like it went on, I was like, I think, because when you got to G.I. Joe, and I'm like, okay, maybe Tara doesn't know that Duke is a main character in that.
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
God.
Yeah. But I kind of like it too because that's how I learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, that show was barely on for a season.
No, yeah, that was an era. There was a lot of things that kind of came and went. Whoop, you know.
Well, also because I kind of know his big roles from like what he has on his table at conventions, and I feel like that one is just not spoken about a lot.
No,
so
it's funny because we brought it up in Russ's episode too. It's like it's not one of those shows that like people bring up a lot, and
no.
I think
and
also
it's G.I. Joe. It should have been.
The whole thing with G.I. Joe is I'm about to spoil the latest Transformers movie that came out, Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Spoilers. Who gives a crap?
Okay.
The end of that movie, they pull they pull an Iron Man Nick Fury ending, to set up a bigger cinematic universe than that. And it's G.I. Joe, and me, like, I'm a huge nerd. Like, I like Transformers, and I'm very familiar with a lot of stuff from the 80s. But even I'm like, who under the age of 40 gives a shit about G.I. Joe? And I'm like, you're trying to do a G.I. Joe cinematic universe too? Like, no one. Like we were
it would have
the bubbles bursting
on
cinematic universes too. So that's why I kind of feel like that's also why. I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of young people, or hell, even people my age, are like, yeah, G.I. Joe, Sigma 6. Like,
right. But wait, this is okay. See, this is how dumb I am. Now, where was that? That was a dub, I assume.
Yes.
But who made that show? What country was that dub from? I don't know.
It was animated in Japan. I'm trying.
So was it okay?
I think it was
because in my brain I was thinking, is it because it was like kind of the anime spin on G.I. Joe that it didn't work? And
it was a bit of that. I
mean, G.I. Joe is the real American hero. That was the tagline, right? So is it a little bit weird to be dubbing a Japanese version of? But again, I mean, I like that. I like a different spin on things. But maybe that's why? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm trying to think, because it was a... I'm sure, like, I don't know why I'm doing this on air. I'm like, anyone could just go on Wikipedia.
All right, we're Googling, but you guys can Google too.
But it was, no, because I just want to... Oh, it was Gonzo. Yeah, it was Studio Gonzo that animated it. They've done a ton of stuff, but it's funny. That's like the same studio that, like the Boondocks would use Studio Gonzo to animate their show too. So like it's not uncommon for them to like animate like an American property like this. But yeah, it's just like it's a.
But wait, but they animated, but it was this was a dub, so it was not just their animation. It was foreign writing and storylines and storytelling, basically. So I wonder. So I did a show called Marvel Disc Wars, The Avengers. It had all the Avengers characters in it. I had a cool role in it. I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be huge. Like, we were doing it for Disney. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It never aired here. I believe it only aired in maybe the Philippines or something. I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
It never aired here, and I heard, again, through the grapevine, this was rumor, that they didn't want American audiences to see those characters in anime style. They were like, no, that's not going to work. And they did it. They aired it in a certain place to sell toys. Again, this was all about these disc toys. But, I mean, and again, it's another lesson in this industry that, like, the thing you think is going to blow up. And the cast was insane. It was like, I mean, you guys can look up Marvel Disc Wars. It was a great cast. I was like, this is it. This is the thing.
Yeah. And for them to think no one wants to see these characters in the anime style, that's...
And again, maybe that was not true. Maybe that was just a rumor that went around. But why would you spend all that money dubbing a show and then not release it? Or in one place, like people who saw... And there's all...
Tara, let me tell you a story about every production that was canceled on Netflix. And
I know.
all this stuff on HBO
It's heartbreaking.
Max.
Heartbreaking.
What an interesting tangent we went on there.
we did. I feel like I talked about myself way too much in this whole episode, but I had stories to tell, I guess. I had to let it out, Steve.
Mm-hmm. You're good?
That was so judgy. That was such a judgy.
Oh, with the
Yeah. I feel judged. We should get out of here.
Yeah, we should talk.
We're going to have a talk after this. Okay, we'll let you guys go because we should just talk about how great Greg Abbey was. You should go follow him.
Mm-hmm.
Request him at your next if there's a convention near you, the best way to get people you like there is to write to the convention and say, I want to meet Greg Abbey.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actors have a better chance of being invited to the convention. Or, if there's an artist you really want to meet, you could be like, I want to meet Steve Yurko. Maybe he'll be invited. It could happen.
Maybe.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. In the show notes, you can see links to all the stuff. We'll put a link to Greg's Instagrams, both, I guess, and to our stuff. And we will
catch you next time.
4Kids Flashback is a production of Maji Media, hosted by Tara Sands and Steve Yurko.
Producers are Zach Logan, Tara Sands, and Steve Yurko.
For more information, go to 4kidsflashback.com. That is the number 4. And if you worked at 4Kids and have a story you want to share, please email us at 4kidsflashback@gmail.com.
You can find us on social media at 4Kids Flashback, and to listen early and ad-free, head to patreon.com/4kidsflashback. And for podcast merchandise, find links on our website and Linktree.
As they say on every podcast, if you liked this show, please subscribe, rate, and review, and tell your friends, or 4. If you want to check out other Maji Media podcasts, go to maji.media. Thanks for listening.